All right, I want to thank everyone for joining us on our session for utilizing ArcGIS Election Solutions for the 2020 general election in Durham County. I have here with me Kelly Doss, who's a GIS analyst with the City of Durham Technology Solutions Department. She's worked in local government and GIS for 15 years in several departments, has an MA in geography and a certificate in GIS and a BA in sociology from UNCG. She loves dogs and enjoys hiking, audiobooks, and trying out different hobbies. So we are kindred spirits in that. I enjoy all of those as well. So I want to encourage everyone to sign into the chat. That you'll see the chat button on the right of your display. Sign into that. That's where we'll encourage you to ask questions throughout the session. And at the end, we'll have some time for Kelly to answer those before we finish up. All right, Kelly, thank you very much, and go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday to you. I'm just going to share my video now just to introduce myself, but then will be shutting it off so it doesn't interfere with my Wi-Fi. But in addition to the background that was just shared by the moderator, something relevant to this is that from 2007 to 2014, I served as a GIS mapping technician and the street database administrator for the Guilford County Board of Elections. And because of my familiarity with the state board election software and the GIS needs of the elections office, when the Board of Elections, their mapping tech left in 2019, there was an agreement made between my department and the Board of Elections that I would serve as their mapping tech and street database manager again. So I'm handling those. This is my only slide, so I'm just going to really go right into the demo. So the ArcGIS Solutions for local government, they released an elections outreach and elections management solutions in 2019. And these are just configurations of the existing ArcGIS Online web apps and templates that are pre-configured for the elections needs. And so it includes pop-ups that are already configured, arcade expressions, surveys, and everything. And so this is a minimal gallery that I set up. This is all of our apps that I deployed. And along with some custom apps that I made specifically, this internal district viewer. But I did want to share with you the ArcGIS Online site for this. And this is our solutions site. And this was not available when I deployed this initially. I deployed it in an early version, and since then they've updated it with some good documentation and a more organized system in ArcGIS Online. So for election outreach, you only need ArcGIS Online and one ArcGIS Pro license to be able to work with it. These are their requirements. And then the products that are deployed with it include a hub site, which is, don't know, it's basically a website that's available that you can use. And they have this set up that you could basically use it as your elections website if you wanted to. The elections office here decided not to deploy this. And so it's available, but we didn't do it, but I will be showing you this. And then all of these apps that come with it. So you can, there's like an app to find your representative, to find your polling place, your voting center or early voting site. We also did not use the poll worker application, and then an ArcGIS Pro project where everything is managed. So when you launch your solution, this is what you get, and it deploys all of the layers, maps, and apps that you need. And really, you just need to load your data into it, and you are good to go if you want to use all of their sort of templates that they've rolled out. So if you do decide to use their website, the hub site, this is what it looks like. This is their sample. And it's really just a website for you to use, and you can redirect your current elections website to this. Let's see, this just sort of shows everything. And then the apps that are included with the outreach the Find My Elected Representative, this is the default. So when you deploy, this is what you get. And this is what it's going to look like. Once you load your data, this is how it will look. This is our app that I configured differently. They wanted it, the office to look a little, they wanted it to look a little different. But same idea. You can just go in and location and find out all of your various districts based on your address. So here's our mayor information. Voting centers, this is their default. This is where you can go in and find your early voting site. I'm using a buffer to where you live. And then you can get information about the site. And it also includes a directions module, and this uses the ArcGIS Online World Geocoder, and it does use credits, the ArcGIS Online credits when people use this. So we actually opted for a different way of doing that. And this is our version of the Early Voting Site Locator. And I currently have it set up to show wait times. And so you can see here just one wait time showing. And so here's the difference in how ours looks. And I'll talk a little more about how we did this here. And then for the polling place locator, this is the default look for that. Again, they have directions. And then this is how ours looks. Okay. Right, make sure. And then one thing I did want to show is, so you can see what I mean on the back end of them sort of doing everything for you, is this is the pop-up configuration for that early voting site locator map. And this is just this is all put out there for you. I have done some customizations. But when you go in, they have done all of these arcade expressions for you. And I'll just show you how complicated some of them are. So unless you have somebody in GIS on hand who is a sort of a developer and knows a lot, or you have a lot of time to go out and search and get some help from other people, I would have no idea. I had no idea how to write these. I know how to modify them to meet my needs, but I don't know a lot of code. So I just wanted to show that is one of the benefits of using the solutions, is that they've done a lot of the hard pre-configurations for you. Okay, and then so those are the election outreach applications, and those are for the public. And that's why you don't need a lot of licenses or anything, is those are to show for the public to use those. Internally, you have the election management suite of apps. And I will go back over here. Oh, and one thing I also wanted to note is in the information on the Esri site, it walks you through how to set everything up. So to use it, it shows you how those apps are used, how to go in and use those apps, and then also configuring it. And it's a step-by-step instruction for you if you launch the solution of how to do it. So if you don't want to do a lot of customizations to it, and you just like to use what they have rolled out for you, it walks you step by step how to do that, and how to make some minor customizations to it if you'd like. Okay, so in regards to customizations that I've made, here, actually, let me show you first. This is the actual ArcGIS Online, the content site. This is all things that were deployed with it. This is the main feature layer. You can see, so this includes voting locations, which are your polling places and your early voting sites, the voting precincts layer that's related to this, your electoral districts. It's used in the Find My Representative app. And then your election day metrics, this is your table that includes wait times, and that is joined to your voting locations through a view layer. So some things I wanted to point out, if I can get to my scroll bar here, is just all of the information. So up to this point of where comments are the fields that were deployed in the database that came with the solution. After this are fields that I added for various needs. But unless you know a lot about GIS and the back end of things, I do not recommend adding fields and customizing in that way because there's a lot of different, you have to delete and rejoin fields, and then you have to do some JSON copying, and there's just a lot of technical things that go in when you want to start doing a lot of customization of their database schema that comes with it. But a workaround for that, and that's what I wanted to discuss, is there's some fields that aren't used here in North Carolina, and that specifically, we don't have drop boxes here, so there's no need for box location. And initially, before I added fields and I was still testing if it could do everything I needed with the fields that were included. Sorry, okay. I added, to get around using the directions and the ArcGIS World Router, I took away that directions module and just put in a custom Google Maps URL using the place name. And I looked this up, and there's 57, or I guess 66, including the early voting sites locations. So this didn't take a tremendous amount of time to do, to create all of these custom links, but that's what's we have linked to in the pop-up on the early voting site locator, and on the polling place locator to get to your voting site, and it just brings up Google Maps. So that has worked out very well. And so if you don't want to add custom fields, you can just use existing fields and just change what the alias is and do some of the same things. So that's why I wanted to show that you can just put that in that box location and use that. Some of the other things we needed to do, we don't need to do these now, is transit stops. I'll show you how I configured that. But these are just some of the other fields that we personally wanted to add to our database. Okay, so in Election Manager, there is a election dashboard that comes with it. This is the custom, or the default that comes with the solution. So you have your overview of everything that's going on. And that includes a workforce app where you can report election requests, like if you need supplies or if there's hardware issues, software issues, just all the different. So, and you can see, this is a dashboard. You can see everything that's going on. Includes a wait time dashboard. And then a voter satisfaction survey. Durham County did not use this year just because of everything, all of the new things that had to go in place with COVID. They didn't want to add, and also with us deploying this new solution, they didn't want to overload the poll workers, so they didn't do this. This is our dashboard, and it's slightly different because we didn't use the voter survey. I just linked different fields on our overview to show more voter issues and request issues. Here's our wait time dashboard. And I'm actually going to do this live. I'll show you a report here just a minute. And this is something that I added. We use Workforce not just for the rovers and tracking election requests. They wanted to see where the poll workers were to make sure that they were getting to the polls at the time that they needed to in the morning, and then in the evenings that everybody was on their way back to the elections office. So we set up workforce to do that for them, in addition to the election rovers. And so you can see here, this is worker locations. This is the poll worker locations. They just happen to not be, this is their last known location. And that's what workforce tracks. And then we didn't do the survey. So how this is done, how this is all done, is this is the early voting assistant. This is where the people working at an early voting site can report a wait time or a request assistance. So this is brought up on a mobile device, using this link. And when it comes up, they'll just see this table. So we're going to do North Regional Library. First, we'll request assistance. This brings up a Survey 123 app. The only customizations we made to this were we added some different categories for the request type. So we're just going to do ballot issue. Okay. And then I'm also going to report a wait time. And they can just leave this open in the mobile app and refresh it when they have another wait time and submit another one. They don't even have to go back and do anything in the app again if they don't want to. And so with that, you can now see on the dashboard that we have a request at the North Regional Library. And then on our wait time dashboard, that we now have a 90-minute wait time at North Regional Library. And then also, so in Workforce for ArcGIS, which is where the requests for assistance are managed, this is the dispatcher app. That request came in. So there's a ballot issue. I am going to assign that. Oh, please work. Okay, so I assigned that to myself, and I have Workforce open on my mobile phone right now. And so now I can see that on my phone, but I can't share that, but I will show you here. So we're going to go back over to this. I'm going to mark this as started. So see, now I click on it and say this is in progress now. And then I also just marked it as completed. I should. All right. That will, here, I'll just refresh it. This will update. Okay, anyway, well, While this is loading. Oh, well, that's the last slide I had. Well, here, since I just have a minute left here, I will stop sharing this screen. And I'm going to share different screen. Okay, this is the ArcGIS Pro project, and I wanted to show here the attribute table so that I can note one thing, and that is when you're entering your times, you need to enter them in UTC time instead of the Eastern Standard Time. And here, and you can see that here. So I put in, 6 a.m., 10 p.m. So that's actually 5 p.m. here is the voter registration deadline. And the reason I put these dates as they are is so the wait time function would work correctly. If it's outside of the the window, it won't work. And that's intentional. Okay, so with that, any specific questions?
So we have a couple of questions here that people have put into the chat. Brian Tuttle would like to know, do you have an ELA that you're able to use licenses for election day? Or did you just have to buy additional licenses to cover elections?
Because they wanted to use the track the poll worker location, we had to buy licenses for the 57 poll workers along with the rovers, but we did have to work out something with Esri to purchase additional licenses, some staff licenses, some dispatcher licenses, which for their call center. And then I think that ended up being, we had 5 staff licenses, 10 rover licenses, 10 call center licenses, and then 57 poll worker licenses. And you can work with your Esri rep on that. So yes.
Awesome. And then I have a question. Did you have a specific time interval that you requested the poll workers to post the wait times to update those?
I believe they asked them to do that at least once an hour. At the height of it, if there was a lot of wait times, they would sort of have us, I think it was every 15 minutes or so. Okay. I'm not 100% sure the system that they use, but I think they would just give a colored piece of paper to the last person in the line when the line started developed and start a stopwatch. And when that person got up to the table, that's when they would stop in and report.
Awesome. So if anyone else has questions, please go ahead and put those into the chat now. So was survey 123 included in the solution for the wait times? Yes. Yes. So I'm not seeing any more questions. I want to thank you for presenting to us today. This was a really interesting presentation. And for everyone else, we have a session right after this. So please go ahead and check your agendas and go ahead and pick something else that you'd like to go to. We have vendor demos and the vendors as well to go to. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you at the next session. Thanks a lot.